Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus, and it's time to make a deal. You clicked this video, so I'll tell you what I think of Combiner Wars Swindle. Not much of a deal, I know, but I gotta start somewhere. Swindle is a Jeep-ish, heavily armored thing. Like, the roll bars are there, but they're stuffed full of rather obvious robot fist. It does have some advantages despite its awkward messiness, as the more abstract appearance maintains the basic tenets of Swindle Jeepness, while also giving the impression of a slightly more armored vehicle that'd fit in a bit more with the Combaticon squad. There's a ton of sculpted detail, even trios of satchels along either side of the alt mode, that is all begging for paint that just ain't there. The front bumper area is fully painted and kinda not quite color matched to the tan plastic. It leads me to believe a bunch of the paint budget got blown there due to where plastic got shot into molds. By the way, Swindle is a ridiculously heavy retooling of the Protectobot newbie Rook, and this might be an even more intensive reshell than some of the already impressive stuff we've seen earlier in Combiner Wars. Rook has an entire extra set of wheels, for example, and aside from sharing the same wheel parts, the only other identical tooling I've spotted between their alt modes is in back, where the combiner peg, the flat platform holding the robot head, and the ball joint bearing swivel structures are shared between the two. From the front or side, man, the silhouettes are even massively different. Despite all that, Swindle has a similar 5mm mounting setup on his topmost surface with 2 holes in back and a peg in the middle. He has an original triple-barreled gun, coated in dark gunmetal paint, with both a peg and a hole for maximum attachment options. Swindle's hand-foot gun is also completely new, though it replicates the unique 5mm peg hole that was found on Rook's.
Combaticon Land Battalion, transform!
Tell him what time it is, big guy.
Time to die!
He's bulked out a little bit, but this is undeniably Swindle. Tan plastic aside, there are some other cool visuals at work here. Of course, he's got purple Scramble City chestplatey stuff, but there are also gunmetal pipes running through his forearms and calves, like a mixture of components from both the roll bars and the automotive underbits of his alt mode. Up top, Swindle's head sculpt is loaded with personality. The big purple goggles are bulging with greed. While there's a nice coat of dark gunmetal paint, I really wish there was a lighter metallic to pick out 1 or 2 more details. There just isn't enough pop. Swindle has regular old fists, which means no Rook-style Hulk hands action, but his smaller gun holds an interesting surprise. There are a couple of protrusions in back that match up with the divoted indentations on either side of his backpack plank's inner surface. Basically, you can attach the gun back there to poke out over either of Swindle's shoulders. Now, I've heard that this may have been a running change, and that there may be Swindles out there in the wild whose guns lack the nubs to do this piece of functionality. I'm not sure if that's a risk for everybody seeing this video now, but I felt it was worth mentioning. I also feel it's worth mentioning precisely what other parts are shared between Swindle and Rook. Their elbow pieces, crotches, hips, thighs, knees, and underside foot plates are identical, in addition to the neck plate, combiner peg, and upper shoulder swivels that I mentioned before. But man, do they look different! Even more so than Dead End and Streetwise side by side to me. Swindle makes for a very straightforward leg, which is his usual place in a textbook Bruticus assembly. You can play with the placement of the upper front vehicle plate, and keeping it down in alt mode position makes for a slightly cleaner looking limb, I think. When transformed into an arm, Swindle has some pleasant dedicated tooling in the form of a couple tabs on his forearms, which lock the underside of that aforementioned plate to keep it snugly up top. It also gives Bruticus a real beefy smash arm. Swindle's smaller gun sits very naturally when plugged into one of his fist holes, and serves double duty in also covering up his hands a bit. This is a good Swindle figure, and I think that bears stating specifically. Even if you don't care for the combination aspect, he is a strong modern Swindle. And he is also another example of the best of the incredible levels of retooling Combiner Wars has put on display. It's a shame his advantages make straight redecos like Vortex and Blastoff look far worse by comparison, but Swindle also has way more character built up over the years than both of those guys put together. Getting to share the incredible skeleton that Rook has is just icing on the cake. Swindle has earned this. Or stole it. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus, and the next time we check in on the Combaticons, we're gonna see a brand new mold! Aren't you excited? Oh, you heard about the waist thing already. Tanks!